So, good evening. Can we start off? So, today we'll understand a little more about the food. We have a very specific topic in Ayurveda, which is called as incompatible food tolerance. So, that would be like a very specific topic that we'll talk about. But yes, the other discussions on food is also welcome. And food is a very vast topic. It is very regional and very individualized. So, to come up with a general guidelines on the food is very difficult because it has to be very specific to the region, to the dosha of the person, to the imbalance of the person, their age, the physical activities. So there are a wide range of aspects that we need to consider when a diet is planned for an
Yes.
So let's understand what food is and how important food is to our system. So Ayurveda classics are basically written in Sanskrit. So Sanskrit is considered to be the mother of all the language, and food is called as ahara in Ayurveda or Sanskrit, if I can translate as. And we consider there are three pillars, and these three pillars are responsible for our health. And also these three principles are very important when there is a formation of a disease. So they form a base for maintaining the positive health, and they become the positive factors for any illness. And these three are ahara, nidra, and brahmacharya. So ahara is translated to the food, the nidra is the sleep, and brahmacharya is our routine. So is it like whatever we eat or whatever we get to eat, is this the food? Ayurveda has got a very clear description on what food is. So as I was telling you, it is all in Sanskrit. So I have just picked up some shlokas from the classical text. So it is called as pranaha pranarbhutam annam loko abhibhavati. So food sustains the life of the living things, and every living being in the universe needs this. And what kind of food? They again give a description. The one which gives us a good complexion, which is called as varnaha, prasadaha, it gives us clarity in everything. Sausvarya, which brings in clarity of the speech. Food is very important. So we are what we eat. So whatever our physical constitution is or our mind constitution is all about how we eat and how we have our lives. So in that context, they describe all these features that we get from them. So Sausvaryam is having clarity in speech, Jivitam is longevity, Pratibha is our performance, Sukham is our happiness, Tushti is a sense of satisfaction, Pushti is nourishment, Bhala is strength, Medha is the intellect. So all of these we get from the food. So Deho hi ahara sambhavaha. The human body is the byproduct. So food is considered to be the base of life. So as I was telling you, the food, when it is in the right way, when it is wholesome, it gives us health and happiness. When the same food is unwholesome, it is the cause for diseases and misery in the system. So what sustains us is a health. And what we eat is what we digest and absorb, and that is what we are. So what Ayurveda also says as food to be the Mahabheshaja. Bheshaja is the medicine. Mahabheshaja is the very important medicine. So food is considered as the second medicine in life. When our food is right, we don't need anything else. So what are the benefits of the food? It nourishes the body and the mind. It gives a balance in the doshas, and it supports the immunity and the vitality. And what kind of food does all these is hita, mita, kala, aha. That is food which is had in the right quantity, the right food at the right. So the right food, the right time, and the right quantity is very important. And this helps in the proper functioning of the digestive system, which is very important for preserving our posture. So now getting into the topic for today, it is called as Viruddha Ahara. And again, I think the word Viruddha is self-explanatory. Viruddha means something opposite, something opposite, something not going in together. And Ahara is the food. So Ayurveda has a very elaborate discussion on the Viruddha Aharas concept because they are the positive factors of many illness in the body. And Ayurveda also describes certain food combinations which we need to avoid on the day-to-day practices. So it's not like having this on 1 day or 2 days occasionally doesn't make any harm to the body. But when we are into the practice of having these Viruddhahara combination consistently, like we are having it for a very longer period of time and more frequently, then it shakes the body. If it is had occasionally, it isn't. Because the body has its own mechanism to correct this. So Viruddhahara refers to the food combination that possesses opposite properties or characteristics that can interfere with the body's natural process and leads to the health issues. So whatever we eat goes through the process of digestion, and as you know, it is divided into the essence part and the feces. The feces get excreted from the body. So this essence, whatever is digested food in the system, goes to nourish our dhatus. So these dhatus nourishment has to be proper to have a very positive health and to have a good immune. And this food that is digested cannot directly nourish the body. It has to go through its channels of digestion to make it acceptable for that particular system in the body. So we consider that there are 7 body constituents or the 7 dhatus in the body. So the food we eat has to go through the process of each digestifier at the dhatu level to make it acceptable for its soul. Say we have 7 channels and there is a security at every channel. So the food that we eat has to cross this barrier to nourish them. If this barrier is not right, it cannot nourish the food. So whatever is the barrier or the security check that we are talking is nothing but the digestive fire at the very deeper levels in the body. So we need to keep our digestive levels at the deeper levels of the body very good. And also the essence of the food should cross this barrier effectively to nourish them. If there is any problems at the digestive level of these dhatu level, it affects the health condition. And that's how the disease formation in Ayurveda is explained. So we need to have the digestive food very, very strong and very stable to have a positive. And this digestive fire is very much dependent on the food. That's how this has a very important role. So any Viruddhahara, if it is frequently had into the body, it disrupts the digestive fire. And once the digestive fire is disrupted, the whole mechanism of nourishment to the body is affected. And the final essence, which we call as the ojas in Ayurveda, or can be translated to immunity, gets shaken and the body falls prey to the autoimmune conditions or the allergies. So that's how Ayurveda addresses the allergies and explains how allergy is caused, and the reversal of this process is the treatment for treating allergies. So they give us various examples of these combinations, and any of these combinations, when had more frequently, as I was telling you, disturbs the digestive fire. And once the digestive fire is disturbed, it causes the imbalance in the tridoshas and it affects the health. Which system is affected depends on whichever a person is having as a weak immune system in the body. Say a person has a weak muscle bone joint disorder. So the imbalance causes the diseases of the muscle bone joint system. Or a person has a weak respiratory system, it can affect him as a respiratory problem, or somebody has a digestive problem. So it goes to affect that particular system in the body which is weak. So few of the combination which is mentioned in classics are fish and milk. Never have fish and milk together. It can be having a fish dish with milk, or mixing milk in preparing fish. So this is a very wrong combination, and they say that when this is had, it generally leads to the digestive disturbance, respiratory, or the skin ailment. And this is identified because it is opposite in its potency. So milk is considered as cooling, while fish is considered as heaty in nature. So if anything that is hot in potency and cold in potency is mixed together, it is not healthy for the system. And one example they give is fish and meat. Then heating honey. So honey should never be heated. So which means never use honey for cooking, or honey should not be mixed with anything warm in nature. So because there is a process of transformation that happens in honey when it is in contact with the heat. So never have heat given to the honey, or never mix honey to anything that is heated. Then we go in with the quantity. So never mix honey and cow's ghee together. So there is a, like as I was telling you, food is very rich. So some of the regional preparations would be like mixing honey and ghee and consuming with the food. So when you are doing this, never mix them in equal proportion. It can always be mixed in different proportions. So mixing in equal proportion comes under the classification within the Ayurveda. So Kala Viruddha is time incompatibility, which is when it is a cold, pungent substances in summer. So having spicy food or having heaty food in summer is to be avoided. Because as such, summer gives us more heat, and having an added heat in the form of the food, it increases the pitta and it's not healthy, and it disturbs or gives the pitta imbalance disorders. So whenever it is the summer, you need to always
Successful. I
prefer
can see now more people are coming every day.
items.
Thank you for the core of my heart to all of you, everybody who's taking part.
The
This session
sweet
for
need
these
not be
doctors.
like a sugar or a diet as such.
Talking about
For
it.
us, sweet is
Make
even
this
a grain
as
or
your
a
mission
mita
so that
is considered to
every
be
guest
sweet in
attend
nature.
each talk.
So
You
the
did not
summer
make sense in saying this will be one of the best thing here, and it will be differentiating factor among us and our competitors, and which has no cost involved. It is very bare minimum. It's only our effort. Right? Our effort.
So, generally,
accordingly. So then spicy. So even if you want to have spicy, it should be in moderation, not a heavy spicy. Anything that is spicy and hot.
But in Rajasthan, they eat lot of spice because it gives you heat, so you cool down, and that's how you handle the summer.
It is regional based. So that can sustain you for a few days, but you cannot continue having that because later there is the disturbance with acidity. The GI tract gets disturbed. It can be in the form of upper GI disturbance or the lower GI disturbance. Hot by temperature also, hot by spices also. Both needs to be reduced. Black.
This people take with fish, sometimes they have coffee, they have this. They have iron number of kidney failure, diabetes, and alcohol.
Definitely.
I will tell you the parts of it.
Check in that we can recognize the positive changes.
The liquid is the highest in Andhra, Punjab, and then third number is Bengal and now. So highest with spicy food, then you can see the problem. Even in Gurgaon, every person is coming from Andhra.
Doctor, I'm just thinking, taking your everyone is, there are so many things you are suggesting. These are all our statements. You know,
We come to that.
so by this gain that you're talking is not very visible. Doctor, for the layman, even
No.
Whatever we take is done. In that case, I'm trying to you should try only for weeks. But that we are vegetarian we like 1 year. Also, 80 years. I also 80 years. They also have same we have also we everything something was big. So also which I'm searching. Should I read all these things? For what?
I mean, it doesn't say leave all this. Okay, you like spicy.
50 years and every day. And my all nobody died at home because of eating spicy. No single don't eat, you are in Chennai.
Really, it's about how your body mechanism, what's the needs for this.
The other like takes first and each other you have to face the problem. Does the system adapt itself to handle the chicken fry?
It has prepared itself to handle the.
So
We should not abuse it. We should not abuse it. I would say we should not abuse it. If it is abused, then the body will play positive. So having no this time, it is more as saying no to. It's not like saying no to all these food. Taking all these food in moderation and preserving the positive health is the main aim. So prepare the system to face any challenges. That is what the end principle of IVAC is. It's not about having the food which is not good or food which is everything, but in the quantity that the body needs it to handle itself in a better.
understanding everything you're saying, you say quality, there is a quantity there.
Yes.
Quality can't be become. But I still not be happy. So that's
It again goes back to the genetic makeup. Yes, it is not good.
but the quantity doesn't really vary.
It varies. It varies and now this study. They spices. Here is when we get into a round thing. So they were eating spices, what spices they were eating and what other activities they were doing also need to be considered. They were eating spices in moderation. They used to start the day at the right time, end the day at the right time. They used to have good rest to sleep. Now, are we doing it? We are not sleeping the right time. We are not waking up the right time. We are not resting our mind. We are eating spicy food. We are eating heavy alcohol, drinking heavy alcohol. We are staying back at night, which is causing pitta to aggravate. And this pitta is responsible for all the inflammations in the body. And once the inflammatory index goes high, the body starts succumbing to the diseases. So we are not doing what they were doing, but we are trying to substantiate ourselves that, okay, they were eating the same, why can't I eat the same? They were having the regional food. They used to have seasonal food. We don't have seasonal food. They used to breathe fresh air. They used to drink good water. And we are not doing so. We are having the RO water. We are having the vegetables and the other things that we eat grown from the menu. They used to have healthy vegetables. We have preserved food. They never used to have preserved food. So there are many changes that we have come across, and the body also, like whatever their health condition or whatever their body cellular makeup was in the last 2 generations, we are not the same. So there is a process of evolution in the living beings. Accordingly, the food has to change, the season has changed. So we need to adapt to the present situation. And if we are not adapting to the present situation, luckily, like there is a genetic need. So if our genetic makeup is good, we can tolerate it. But there is always a threshold beyond which the body has to pay. So let's have this discussion.
Winter. He's saying ice cream is best in winter because outside temperature and ice cream temperature gets not same.
So anything that is cold in nature is predominant with kapha and vata, and winter is predominant with kapha and vata. So it directly increases the doshas. So which is not very advisable. It slows down the digestive process. And consuming curds at night. Again, curds increases the pitta and the kapha in the body. And after the sunset, we feel that the digestive system is slow and never have anything that is heavy for digestion once the sunset. Then the buttermilk is, in fact, curd and buttermilk, they have opposite properties. So the curd is very heavy for digestion and it increases the pitta and the kapha in the body, while buttermilk is a very good digestive and it balances all the food. So buttermilk can be had any time.
Good messages also.
Yes,
And what
definitely.
you do, listen. You don't need that, you need this.
Yeah.
Very
Correct. So generally, like hot water, as I was telling you, should never be mixed with honey. So that is there. And taking sweet food items at the end of the meal. And this again goes with the, I'm telling you, I'm coming to your point. This goes with the constitution of the person. A vata predominant person, a pitta predominant person can enjoy his meat after the meal because he needs something to nourish his body. But a person who is kapha predominant, if he has his meal after the end of the meal, his metabolism goes slow and he gains. So only for a kapha person, the sweet should not be had at the end of the meal. And for whom the digestive system is slow, they should avoid having the sweet after the meal. So they can space out the sweet and have it late. So after 1.5 hours of the lunch, they can have the sweet or have a small portion of the lunch and then
And it's good for pitta and vata.
vata. And again, taking anything that is spicy at the beginning of the meal should not be done for a vata. Because anything that is spicy triggers their vata. So they should start a meal with a sweetness. So it goes with the constitution again. So for them, it is a kapha person can start with a spicy food because they need something like a fire to have their appetite. Jataragni will improve with the spicy. So a kapha person can always have a piece of ginger with some pepper in it before the start of the meal, and then they can have. So this helps in improving the digestive. Yes, any meal, like it is said, have a light breakfast, have a light dinner. The lunch has to be the biggest meal of the day. That again, because we go in with the sun and the moon clock. So whenever it is the sunrise, our digestive fire will be rising up. It is at its peak in the midday and slows down. So it's a general rule, like start your breakfast with a small meal, conclude your day with a small dinner and have a good lunch. And they have again given specific combinations, like try to avoid fruit salad. A combination of vegetables, a combination of fruits should never be had. Just stick on to mono, like one fruit at a time, one vegetable at a time. So the stomach is not, the stomach is very relaxed to digest it and it gives us all the nutrition. If there is a combination of food, the stomach is confused as what should it, or how should it digest the different food that it is serving. So always try to have one.
Just like the no adding fruits or vegetables with our main dish, it's just popped out now, right? Because we were adding banana or apple fruits or making a smoothie. The salad, we were starting the food with salad. That is what they say, that starting food with a raw vegetable. Then how can you store them?
These are all the restrictions.
So,
No.
You always start with the.
Not fit in the meal.
And again, the reason is when you have a festival, so when you're fasting, you should not have the meal start with anything spicy. So they always give you a small sweet. They don't put a big sweet in the start. They just put a small serving of the sweet, which you will have and then. There is always a
Is it idea give it?
and what dessert meat is also there.
Every time there is a wedding, first they will serve sweets. You have whatever you want, and then you have. Because that's how they even know. And this has come because of this TVO. The breakfast is a TV ad. That my mother says the breakfast was never there, it is TV ad.
We always at around 11 o'clock when the sun is up. Otherwise, it used to be something like a ganji or a porridge that they start getting. Yes. So milk should never be mixed with any. So milk should never be mixed with any. So milk and salt. Never mix milk and salt. And milk and meat should be avoided. Curd and milk to avoid. This is all introduction into the. Otherwise, there was no concept of multi-grain. You are doing it as a seasonal food. So the body is given the food of the right season. Now we don't have a concept of seasonal food. All the vegetables, all the fruits are perennial, which is very bad to the system.
This is what it says complete plan to the ingredients and that the body needs that. So if you eat food, your food, meat, oil, that's how I would order. If the parents also say that you take it one, you can't be right at home, you can't be eating chapati, you can have any vegetables. This is my belief.
Correct. So I don't think it is wrong. Use mono diet at a time. So one vegetable at a time. Two vegetables at a time. Have 2 grains in a day. So that's why you have a rainbow day. Rainbow day. Make your mind happy and to please your. You can have choices, but not of many combinations. That's not right.
It can be like one vegetable, one pulse.
Yes, one vegetable, one pulse and one meat. This is enough for the body to have its complete meal. And do a different one for the meat. Salad can be only when the digestive fibers. So again, don't mix your main meal because it is a little heavier for digestion. So have your salad, give a gap of about half an hour and then pickle done in the right way is a very good system. So the pickle which has less spices, less salt, less oil into it, it is in fact something very good to improve the digestion.
Doctor, I'm a person who really trusts and interested by Ayurveda, but Ayurvedic food, there is no protein. Because now they say like every person needs 1 gram of the body weight. But where is the protein we are getting in a vegetarian food?
We have fish, we have milk, we have lentils.
That is what I wanted to think because when I become a vegetarian, but there is a protein we need eggs.
See, you cannot, a person who is non-vegetarian cannot transform himself into a vegetarian because this body needs. But a born vegetarian can sustain to be a vegetarian, but why a vegetarian can have protein? The dal sources, like you have dosas, you have idlis, you have a carbohydrate and a protein combination in the morning. Any breakfast item has a combination of these two. Similarly, the lunch also has not more than 10 to 12 grams of protein. We don't go in with the quantity. We go in with the digestive fiber. So it cannot be assumed that, okay, a person needs so many grams of protein, so many grams of
When I say like if you're 70 kgs, then you need 70 grams of
the person is not be able to tolerate it, because we need to consider how his digestive fire is, what is his activity level, and then only form the food. So you cannot burden the system with numbers. The food has to be as how the body feels. So there is always a controversy between the different system of food in like a basic food discussion. Yes, because what we say says
Eight powder the
yes.
five.
These combination mix taste and like 20 grams and 3 potencies. And look and feel as how your digestive fire is. Like that we will come to. So having these symptoms says that you are having a healthy food. It need not be okay, have so much of grain, so much of pulses, so much of vegetables. So you may be having the food as per the calories what is suggested, but still having health problems because the digestive fire is not in a capacity or it's not having its power to digest whatever is fed in the body. In that case, there's no meaning in having so many grams of what the body needs. So the body needs to have what it can digest to and what it can give to the body in return as energy and have the positive. So we don't have the concept of grams of the calories. Correct.
Is combination.
Is universal.
It's
No, it is universal.
It's good for a power.
It's universal.
All these.
Yes.
Consistently absorb the has to. You see that genetically, it's a digestive fire or vegetable.
Correct.
Because
It is.
that's what he was.
Food is an importance. Yes, that's right. Yes, that's what I said also. You cannot have vegetarian eat the non-vegetarian food or a non-vegetarian because if for a vegetarian, the first concept doesn't apply. Vegetarian person, the first concept doesn't apply, and you cannot force a vegetarian person's digestive system to accept fish easily. So if he wants to introduce a vegetarian to a non-veg, his mind has to be willing and then feed him in small portions that the body can absorb and digest.
Possibly no. So being an problems. Genetically for access to be there. So our body will be capable of taking all this hot spicy.
Hot spices in how do you define the hot spices? Each palate is different. So each palate is different. So it is a debatable thing. Each palate is different. What is like one chili prepared dish for me is different. One chili prepared dish for you is different. So what is the spices in Chennai is different. So it is very individualized. And if a Kapha person, he can tolerate high spices. A Pitta and a Vata person living in Chennai, he cannot tolerate even a small portion of spices.
Why not spicy? Only one food you can take for a state, one very well. But is it like from childhood if you are taught to have a lot of spices then
With their body. Maybe she's Kapha, so only she's tolerating it. If she was Pitta and Vata, she would have problems by digesting.
we also have bitten more than me. That is also said that if you have bitter God, don't have it. You have bottom.
Correct.
Right?
Yes,
It's important.
that's right. So milk and radish, milk and green leafy vegetables, milk and any fermented food.
So normally at 19 they leave milk in it. So that's the right way. You cannot actually remember all.
Leave milk at the age of 9.
Yeah, so with teas in the normal diet, they will eat milk at 9. So I didn't have it since 19, 40.
But milk is considered to be like very healthy. See, when you don't know the quality of milk, the present day milk is not healthy. But if the milk is like from a right source, milk is very, very. So what implications this food has is it disturbs the doshas. Once the doshas are disturbed, it disturbs the digestive fire. And once the digestive fire is disturbed, it leads to the formation of ama. And ama is nothing but the undigested metabolites in the body, which disturbs the dhatus and it leads to the problems, whichever system is weak in the body. And finally, it affects the immune.
What are the dhatus? You said 7.
Dhatus are just as how the modern science says the digestive system, the respiratory system, the circulatory system. We can roughly translate it to those systems. They are the rasa, rakta, mamsa, medus, asti, majja, and shukra, which can be translated as blood plasma, blood. Mamsa is the muscles, medus is the fat, the adipose tissue, asti is the bones. The medus is the bone marrow, the shukra is the reproductive glands. So these are the 7 dhatus, and the essence of all these 7 dhatus is the ojas, which is the individual. So whatever food we eat should go to nourish each and every dhatu in the body, and finally it nourishes the immunity. So what is the solution for all this? So give up, Ayurveda says nidhana parivarjana. Nidhana parivarjana is avoiding the positive factor is half the treatment. So whenever we know that some food combination is not good and the body has got its own intelligence system, like this can be understood by only people who have allergies and allergies to multiple things. Today they are okay if they have rice. Tomorrow they cannot digest rice. The third day they are okay with rice. Again they cannot digest. So it means that whatever the body is not accepting it is the allergies to them and try to stay away from it. And the first line of treatment that Ayurveda says in any diseases is avoid the positive factor, and that becomes half the treatment. So even here, when we have understood or gone through so many food combinations which is not acceptable to the body, just to preserve the positive health, try to avoid these factors. And how to correct it is what is more important. So when we know like having a milkshake is not good, though it may be nutritious, you have fruit which has all the nutrients in it, you know the nutrient level of the milk. So mixing both is making it more healthier. That's not the way. So now we have got to know that it is not healthy, so gradually reduce it. So like if you are a person who are having the milkshakes every day, so try to do it twice a week, then come down to once a week and then slowly stop. So that way the body cannot make out the difference, and it will be easier for the body also to accept the change, and the mind also will be relaxed to follow this procedure. And mindful eating is what is very, very important. So having known all these things, it's like preserving the positive health is important. So have a mindful eating, and then definitely whatever abuse the body has gone through, those can be corrected through the panchakarma.
How frequent we should do this?
There is nothing like a set rule as it has to be so frequent. But again, we are considered to be the microcosm of the universe. So there are seasonal changes, and these seasonal changes affect the system. And we are all governed with the 3 doshas, which is Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. So whenever there is a change in the season, there is a change in the body also if we closely observe it. So we have what is called as seasonal panchakarma to combat the effects of these seasonal changes. So it is generally said that in the rainy season, the bastis are the best. In the rainy season, the enemas are the best. The post-rainy season, the Vichana is the best. So this goes with the seasonal panchakarmas. But for the disease purpose, it can be had any time of the day, and doing it once a year should be stable. But again, it depends. Panchakarma is basically to cleanse the system and to get the doshas in balance. So after having the panchakarma, it all depends on how your lifestyle is and how you are preserving your doshas in the body. So if you are handling yourself better, good, then you can do it once a year. Otherwise, if you feel like the lifestyle is not good, not having a right sleep pattern, not having a right food pattern, then do it more frequently so that it can be brought in.
So we can lead a normal life without following this and have panchakarma. It's not.
No, we imagine. See, I can give you an example. So today morning we had this discussion. So you have a very good car. Having the good car, you cannot say like I'm eating the life of the car, bumping it into like very wrong roads, bumping into all the posts. You need to be carefully driving it. And you need to have it serviced the right time, maintain the engine oil, maintain whatever the needs of the vehicle is. And you're doing so much to a vehicle which is a non. The same thing happens to you also.
It gets jumped to the years. You take it to the second one. So then.
How do you maintain it? That's what we are driving to the good.
It's certainly before 5 minutes. When we start 10 minutes, I don't know this. First time and nobody's calling this.
I don't understand. No, this is important.
This is what we thought. Like, looking at it, some time.
No.
Not. I lost skills and chocolates and all these things in the skill. How the chickens, all these people eat are also eating. Nobody is living 50 years old.
The quality of life is important and the genetic makeup is important.
A person who gain weights, he is for example like a hunger. Period of generation,
They get used to it, but they need to tune themselves to a manageable diet for the present.
First activities. Like Italian feeds. Because the body is like
Is
the see a person who doing the daily labor, he looks bad. He will not in the days. It doesn't hurt his. Even I try to talk to
But it's not used to it. The thing is, start rethinking is
So I did a very interesting study. My grandfather lived 105. Great grandmother lived 108 years. So I did their DNA test. They were alive. Yeah. So I asked them question repeatedly how your history has been. So I found. So I asked them the question, how about your father? So one guy in between some snake bites, so he died early, otherwise everybody lived 100. So I did that and I did my DNA test. So my DNA and their DNA has only 25%. And then I did my father's DNA, he is the direct descendant, so at least my mother's blood is different. So my father also has 40% DNA there. So yeah, no, it changes because you have
a new person getting into
yes,
it.
bloods change.
There,
Yeah, so what happened is that interesting study also led me to what did they eat actually. So before my grandfather was alive, I gave him a score that count the steps. So I realized that every day he will have 35,000, 30,000 steps, which is not possible for me. I cannot do it even I walk 4 kilometers, 4 hours. So I realized he's going to the farm, then he's coming back, he's going somewhere and
Less stress.
no, yeah, very no, the stress was huge because he had 11 children there.
It is a very different stress.
And then I asked him what he did not eat. So he did not eat heaven milk. He did not eat rice because they don't have rice there. They have jowar and genu. And most of the things which he said, one thing is clear that he will first have big bowl of vegetables. Then he will have the chapati. That's the process he had. And he had twice only.
It's
But one thing I wanted to ask you the question. He did a lot of fasting. So 112 days out of 365 days he was fasting. Does fasting also lead to that?
can improve the posture.
But I am unable to fast even 24 hours. It will hardly end.
Pitta fasting. Yes, Pitta and Vata cannot fast with no food. They can fast on a very minimum. But the Kapha person can fast without food and they can fast even with like hot water for a longer period of time. Say 2-3 days of fasting with hot water can be done for a Kapha person. But for a Vata and a Pitta person, it is only like small food has to be there with the fasting. They cannot completely go on a slow.
Like we need to reduce the quantity. So it doesn't mean like we are fasting.
Completely fast.
One of them. Healthy babies.
Again, the regional food and the genetic. That is thing also.
Is the oldest.
Their language goes with the longer span of life.
But I think generally it's very less fun. That they are very.
But they and they have a very good skin.
But along the way, one guy was saying, probably the high issues in, so that's
It's not just one, but
It's not same as the other.
so it's so weird. Very good.
it's very individual. When it comes, it is covering every aspect of life. As how the definition of health goes in Ayurveda is, it's not just the no disease in the body. It's the happy mind, happy soul, happy sense organs. They consider the social environment also to be. While what definition we used to get from the WHO was just the absence of disease, and now they have started adding on these extra things. So eventually, over evolution, all these aspects would be brought to the common people. And then we can have the society uplifted with the informations in. So until then, Ayurveda principles are very difficult to accept. The same thing the yoga has gone through, but now people are realizing because we are hearing about yoga from somebody else and we are saying yes to our science. And even with Ayurveda, the same thing is. So it is a very rich and very prestigious thing to go through these treatments of Ayurveda and yoga because that is a very substantial science. It has been there for so many thousands of years and there is no need of any research to prove, yes, this is that in Ayurveda. And Ayurveda is so open that they say, okay, this is what has been documented. Okay, in case anyone want to add on anything in Ayurveda and yoga is left open, but nobody is able to add any new thing to Ayurveda. Because it is that complete science to speak. And it is said that it is ever So it's just that we understanding and we implementing it is what needs to be considered.
Reheating food is.
Yes, reheating food should never be done. Reheating food, because the food has a life in it. So any cooked food stays, food is not just the energy to the body. There is prana or the life force that we are consuming. In fact, it is said that eating food is like a homa to the body. So eat food with the intention that food is going to nourish us and give us all the positive things. So if you consider that way, the food has energy into it, and when you are reheating the food, the energy in the food is heated. And now with the research also, they are coming up to say whenever the food is reheated, or whenever the oil is reheated, it becomes worse.
There is a thing that if you want your belly fat to go away, just remove two things from refrigerator and motion.
So refrigerator is because you are trying to preserve this shelf life of the food. There is bacteria growth. The food is going to be spoiled in 6 to 8 hours. So anything that is kept in the refrigerator is just to prolong the life. And you are bringing out to the temperature wherein it is warmer and the right time for the bacteria to grow. So the food is nutritious, but it is not healthy. And the same with the washing machine, like as you say, the physical activities, everything, whatever we are getting into the modernized equipments to make our life easy is all dangerous to the body. The processed food, the packed food, the canned food, everything has preservatives in it, which is definitely going to harm the body's needs. So whatever is making life easy is going to shape the bodies.
Any job you can see like
Any?
I will live here. Because after that, you will be there.
For the present day, I think we can add these to the list of the good things. So like having milkshakes, fruit salads. So have one fruit at a time, which makes it easier for the system to digest. Not the next one. The cold water before and after tea, ice cream with hot jamun or the hot chocolates. So it is again mixing of hot and cold, which is not good. So popcorn is something considered to be aggravating vata because it is like a very light food. And whenever it is had with any cold drink, it aggravates the vata in the body. And if you have experienced this, when people are used to having this, they develop bloating, they develop burps, there is a lot of flatulence. So that is an indication that it's not a diet food. And reheating oil and food, ice cream, or any cold food in winter, spicy food in summer needs to be avoided. Having popcorn, crackers, or biscuits whenever we are hungry. Again, when we are hungry, there is an increase in vata and the pitta in the body. So all these foods increases the vata, which slows down the digestion.
What should be the purpose?
Something which is warm and easy for digestion. When you go in for the fasting, it should be something like a gruel that you should eat fast. Khichdi is the best thing.
And if you have spicy, what should be buttermilk?
Buttermilk is good. So whenever you have a spicy food, try to have little buttermilk to it so that it balances.
Hot lemon water. Warm lemon.
Warm is better. Warm is better. No. But buttermilk is the best. You can have raisins. Raisins, yes. And when you are scheduled of having things, don't wait for the system to be hungry. Because that is not it. Just have them. Dates is good. Anything that is sweet in nature and moist.
Fat plus
Usually they soak dates in meal, doctor. Like
Yes, ghee,
my dad.
yes, ghee or honey they soak in. That is better. Otherwise, it can be soaked in ghee.
Good.
Better. Or just soaking in water is also good. You need to hydrate any of these dried. Those are all healthy. Cashew nuts should not be consumed in big portions for a pitta predominant person. Again, almonds not for a kapha predominant person. So dates are okay, raisins are okay. So whatever you eat, it has to be again in combination. What else are you eating? And how is your digestive fire? And how is your activity level? Which part of the day you are eating? So it is a combination of many factors that goes. So I think the understanding is still into like not a conclusive
My
thing.
question, why use fruits apples instead? Why use fruits for dinner instead of day?
In Ayurveda, we consider anything that is raw is heavy for digestion. So after sunset, our digestive system is, that's one concept. And anything that is raw or not cooked is something which aggravates vata. And we don't want the aggravation of vata at night because that can disturb us. So no fruits.
No salad.
No salads. Nothing that is raw or nothing that is heavy after sunset. And at the same time, don't have a heavy dinner which is cooked also at night because that disturbs the digestive system. It will not be able to digest it completely, though it could be cooked food. A very rich cooked food is also not healthy.
But once in a while, it's like once in a while.
Once in a while is okay, but we need to take care on those days that we do something to keep our digestive systems.
This vinegar, onions and all that. They put in vinegar, they put onions and
Category of pickles.
pickle.
In moderation is okay. Have them in summer. Have it during the cold season.
Cold.
So it's nothing but the pickling, a very different concept. It's not like a regional thing.
I'm waiting for the slide.
Yes, now this answers what you should eat. So how do we know that our digestive system is functioning? So the clear verbs, the enthusiasm in us, the energy in us, and the proper elimination of the stools and urine timely. Feeling of lightness in the body, timely thirst and hunger. These define that our digestive system is good. And when we have food to maintain all these things, then it is. When you burp, sometimes there is bitter taste, there is sweet taste, sometimes the sour taste comes, or whatever you have eaten, even after 4 hours, you will be tasting that same thing. So if we are tasting the food, or if we are having sour bitterness in the burps, or if we are getting the water also in the burps, it's not healthy sign. Clear about this, there is just a good feeling when you. So that is what is the clear. And then after the meal, you should have that energy to do the activities. You should not feel sluggish in the body. You should not feel the heaviness in the body. So if you feel the heaviness in the body, the sluggishness in the body, it means that the body is like have had a heavy meal or something. And the body is very intelligent to say what it is going through if we are observant. Proper elimination of stools and feces is a right sign. That's how we ask you how your bowel movements was. And in fact, we look at your tongue every day. So the tongue gives us an indication on how your stomach is. And the elimination also gives us an indication on how your digestion process is. In fact, in Ayurveda, they go to the description of the nature of the stools. Whether there is any undigested food, whether the stool is floating in water or it is sinking in water, what odor it has. So it goes to that level of analyzing to know the health of them. And the feeling of lightness, as we discussed, timely thirst and hunger. So if we have had a heavy meal, we might not feel hungry for the next meal back. So which means like we need to go back to change our food pattern, what we have.
Not only that happens problem. Timing was to be.
So it means that the digestive system is good.
They also say that most of the time you should be little bit.
You should be hungry for the meal. You should not be over hungry that after the meal you feel heaviness in the stomach. Okay. Thank you.
I have same question, black coffee.
Black coffee for you is in moderation, but not on excess.
Because the black coffee doesn't suit me any coffee.
So again, it's more a debatable thing. I think Dr. Jassim can make a list as what can keep your system happy. And he can give you a list as what things. It's not a individualized, it's more like a concept.
We will do that when we.
Yes. Yes, that would be good.
Thank you, doctor. Thank you very much. Thank you.